Hi.
I have, well, two questions. I've been coming to the board meetings for a while now. I never really hear anything about like roads or streets that are going to be repaired, fixed, or if there's anything ever in the plans for that. And I'm just wondering if anyone here would at some point this week maybe take a ride down Hillcrest. It used to apparently be a court, and the city removed the bottom of it so that it opens up onto Sixth Street, and it's in seriously bad shape. So when we have leaf removal, we don't get our leaves picked up very well because there's big potholes at the end of the block and they just kind of sit there. And then if you're coming down the street or people coming from Sixth Street that want to cut through when the speed humps are in place, they come whipping up there and they hit potholes and debris goes flying and everything. So I was just wondering, do you ever do anything on like street repairs, or do you guys
Yep. Joe.
vote on that, or?
Oh, yeah, in fact, it's on the agenda tonight for this year's, for next year's street and infrastructure program is specifically on tonight's agenda. The village spends $1 million every year in terms of street and infrastructure repair. I will say for beginning last year and probably for the subsequent next 2 years, we will be purposely avoiding Old Town because of all the lead service line replacements. It doesn't make any sense to do any street resurfacings in Old Town until all the lead service lines are replaced. We are started with phase 1 this year. We've rolled everything into 2 phases with the exception of Route 72, which will be phase 3. We do have a pavement management plan, and we do kind of prioritize based on conditions. So there was a formal evaluation that was done, Eric, 7 years ago, 6 years ago? 2019.
2019.
I thought 19 years ago.
No, 2019. So that's been updated, and that rated all the condition of all the streets in town, and then we prioritize off of that. But
Okay.
for the next 2 years, we will be avoiding Old Town.
Old Town?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we can definitely get out there and see if there's some pothole repairs and things that we can do on an interim basis.
Because I did call right after we first moved into the house and asked if they could patch the big huge potholes at the end of the block. And 3 guys came out and they patched a hole, one little hole around that. And they stood there for like 15 minutes and I'm like, can you do anything? No, they only asked us to do one. I was like, oh no, I'm the one who called. And what do you mean you only want to do one?
Okay.
So I was that was my one question. My second question, briefly, are you planning in any time in the future to do any kind of discounts for senior citizens for their utility services, water service or anything like that? I know a lot of my neighbors, we're all senior citizens over there, and a lot of them have been talking about how their water bills have gone up about 100%. And I downloaded that app and I looked at that, and it says I use 50, 60 gallons a day, and it's just my husband, myself, and a dog. And I know the dog's not drinking that much water. So I'm just wondering if that's, there are some towns that are doing discounts for seniors. Talking about that, is that something that could be looked into or anything?
It hasn't been discussed, but we can certainly talk to staff about it, and as we enter the budget cycle, we can bring that up. Thank you, Mrs. Cunningham. And
Thank you.
Eric, Joe, could you follow up with Mrs. Cunningham regarding the potholes?
Yep, absolutely.
Please. Thank you, Mrs. Cunningham.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board tonight? Okay, we'll move on. Moving on to consent agenda items A through G. I need to read each. A is ratification of checks for $748.56. Item B, approval of bill list, $503,896.98. Item C, Dundee Township Park District Concert in the Park Events 2026. Item D, Dundee Township Park District Family Fun Night. Item E, approval of minutes for regular board meeting, January 5th, 2026. Item F, approval of minutes, regular board meeting, January 19th, 2026. And item G, daily liquor permit request, Dundee Township Park District Wildlife and Wine. Does any board member have any desire to remove any of the items from tonight's consent agenda? Hearing no such changes suggested, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alpagianis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus?
Aye.
Trustee Angeli?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to resolutions and ordinances. Item A, resolution updating the authorized signers and principal authority for the Illinois funds accounts. Trustee Yaska.
This is just a housekeeping issue now that Director Danielson is gone and we have Director Chambers. We need to put her name on there, and it just also re-emphasizes Manager Cavallero's authority to sign. So that's all this is.
Comments or questions?
So either the finance director or you can say, right? Yeah.
Okay, trustee Yaska, do you have the floor?
I move to adopt a resolution to change the principal agent and authorized signer for the Illinois funds accounts held by the Village of West Dundee.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment?
Quick question, is there a dollar amount authority, or is it just, is there any dollar amount authority on it?
No, it's any and all signature authority. So if there's wire transfers or $1 million transfers for funds, it's based on 3 signatures within the organization, the finance director, myself, or President Nelson, on all the various accounts with the exception of Illinois funds. It's the 2 staff individuals.
Okay, all right. Is there a, just in general, is there a authority level on like $1 million checks or anything like that? Or does that have to come to the mayor and you?
Well, it's got 2 signature requirements.
Okay,
Wire transfers are 2 signature authorizations also.
okay.
Okay, we have a standing motion. Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus?
Aye.
Trustee Angeli?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
All ayes, motion carries. Item B, resolution authorizing a contract for the purchase of electricity from the lowest cost electricity provider. Trustee Yaska.
This is a resolution that authorizes Village Manager Cavallero to sign off, agree to the number that is quoted for our electricity. This is an annual situation, and it's a part of the NIMEC group that helps us seek the lowest available electricity. And this year, we're including streetlights that are not ComEd controlled. So we can have 1 bill instead of 2 bills.
And at the lower rate.
And so is that 7.2 cents firm, or is that the current rate?
That's the current rate.
We're waiting to find
Right,
out.
bid is March 11th.
Okay.
All this does is authorize, gives me the authority to sign the contract once we get the numbers,
How long is the contract?
usually 1 year.
Is ComEd normally submit to, or we just?
ComEd's only distribution, yeah, so.
No, but I mean, like, if they came in at, I don't know, 10.5 cents, for example, we could just stay with ComEd, right?
Correct.
But we don't get a firm number from ComEd. It just would adjust like it does for everybody else.
Right,
So-
and then same thing with electrical aggregation. On the residential side, you can elect to stay with ComEd, or you can elect to participate in the Villages program.
Yeah.
Last couple of years, it's been 6 of one, half a dozen of another, but in previous years, it's been beneficial.
Yeah, and at least with this aggregation, you know what the rate is gonna be for the whole year, as
Right.
opposed to ComEd's, which has gone up a lot just during the year, you know. Yep. Anyway, thanks.
Trustee Yaska.
I move to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to enter into a contract with NIMEC for the purchase of electricity from the lowest cost electricity provider upon the conclusion of the auction results on March 11th, 2026.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus?
Aye.
Trustee Angeli?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to unfinished business. Item A, change order number 2 for Village Hall improvements. Trustee Yaska.
Yeah, change order was submitted for some additional work on that was uncovered during the process for almost $14,000. But some of that work included in there was done by Public Works, and so we reduced that amount that was submitted by, what, 7,600?
Okay. Great. Comments or questions? Trustee Huska.
I move to approve change order number 2 to the Village Hall Improvements Contract, representing an increase of $6,281.30 for the total project cost.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alpagianis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Trustee Huska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus.
Aye.
Trustee Andalou.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item B, Spring Hill Perimeter Fence Rental Extension. Trustee Huska.
Well, the fence that's protecting all the piles of ground up debris, gravel, everything, is tempting and could be a liability, so we're requesting to keep the fence up for a couple more months until that can all be spread out,
Makes sense.
reduce the liability.
I have a question. How often do we patrol that? How often do we patrol that area?
It's on the special ops directive.
Okay,
So it's one of those areas
okay. The only reason why I'm asking is the gates, that gate on the one side that's like across from U-Haul has been open.
we've had issues with our.
Well, this was about 8 o'clock at night it was open. Okay,
Yeah, if you do happen to see that.
I should, right, okay. Okay,
And we're just waiting for weather at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the milling has to be done, and then completion of the distribution of the gravel throughout the site. The vast majority of that gravel is getting redistributed amongst the site after the gravel is, or after the asphalt is milled, so,
Do we,
yeah.
yeah, how much is it for like, a month for that fence to stay up even after the gravel is spread?
It's basically $4,500 a month.
I think we should consider potentially leaving it up for a little longer. I'm just worried that that gravel will become just a place for kids to mess around and drive all over, and let's see how fast we can go and do donuts, and I think it's just a recipe for disaster. We might want to think about leaving the fence up for a little bit longer, for safety reasons. I don't know what you guys think, but
Yeah, I wonder if there'd be a way to like take it partially down so it's open, just to see if we're getting any activity in there, but, if we don't have to spend 45, if it's a non-issue, I hate to keep spending the money, but
Yeah.
I could see your point that might be a fun thing to do.
Well, we can reevaluate in 2 months.
Yeah.
Just give
Right,
us 2 months.
right now, the
Yeah.
piles, there's just black dirt that's been excavated, and so there's just some hazard, and by just opening it up, it's significant liability, so the recommendation was to leave it up until at least everything is rated and level, which is targeted for the end of March, so.
We have cameras up too, right?
We did previously, and I think most of the cameras have been taken down because there's nothing really other than activity, but we definitely, that may be something we can take a look at. Maybe that's a combination, but
Yeah, I was thinking to your point, if that wouldn't be another alternative enforcement method to get
Yeah.
this.
Why don't we extend it to 2 months, then we'll revisit it. I guess that would put us in the April timeframe.
Yep.
Trustee Huska, you have the floor.
I move to approve extension of the Spring Hill Mall perimeter fence rental to the end of March 2026 at a cost of $8,031.55.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Anderly. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Trustee Eskett.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lappagianis.
Aye.
Trustee Andalou.
Aye.
Trustee Robrandt.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item C, authorization to solicit proposal for Fifth Street Reservoir repairs. Trustee Yuska.
I'll let Eric speak to what the issue is.
Yeah, so before we had a quick repair on an injection ducting situation that cracked water and then it failed twice. We had the contractor back with Chrisdale and they had to fix it. There was a design engineer there to watch them do it that time and they short of, excavation, which is will be needed at some point down the road, which reimburse engineers to cover. It's basically a rubber mat over the entire crack. And it adheres, bonds fairly well to the concrete, they super it, and then once it's up there, they have pressure of the tape. Water is not pushed that way against the walls, and they do. Looking at a solution, we are going back and forth to the village, finding the perfect.
Comments or questions? Trustee
Thanks
Eskett.
for asking, yeah, it's-
Right away too, because they had contemplated the whole spring.
yeah.
Trustee Yuska.
I move to authorize Public Works staff to solicit proposals for repair of the Fifth Street Booster Station Reservoir.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none. Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eskett.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lappagianis.
Aye.
Trustee Andalou.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Thank you, Eric. Moving on to item D, Williams Architects, Standard Form Agreement, PSC number 3. Trustee Wilbrand.
In relation to the new police department and the selection of Williams Architects for that work, this is an initial contract for a pre-design phase and some future work. It's been reviewed by council and it is presented.
Okay. Comments or questions? Trustee Wilbrand.
With that, I'd make a motion to authorize the village to execute the attached AIA document between the Village of West Dundee and Williams Architects for Public Safety Center 3, including a pre-design phase cost of $130,000 and a basic service fee of 6% for future work.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Trustee Alpagianis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none.
When did we decide that it's definitely gonna be on the Spring Hill Mall property? Did we ever vote on that?
I don't think it was a vote. I think we looked at ideal properties. We discussed some that were for sale and redesigning where we currently sit and kind of just discussed that one of the two mall properties would be the best option. I don't think we ever had a
No, I don't think it was a general vote. I think it was just an understanding and guidance. We looked at a couple other locations. Everything else was going to cost us money to buy it. We had this and
right. Is it still to be determined or
the location
yeah,
on the property?
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's final, but
Somewhere on the, somewhere on a 4-acre site, somewhere on the Spring Hill Mall property, when we solicited the proposals for the architectural engineering firm, one of the attachments we included was 2 potential locations in the packet,
Right.
Both on the mall property.
both on the mall property.
So you're suggesting maybe not on the mall.
Well, I just didn't know that it
Yeah.
was a definite thing.
I recall talking about that and the property across the street from the current,
Safe to say.
Right.
so, but
and
again,
when we talked about that, it was at auction and it became somewhat financially ludicrous, correct? And then the auction didn't pan out
Yeah.
at all and it's still vacant, so I guess that's still in play if they cut their price. But for now, we own the property already, so.
All right, well, I just don't wanna get boxed in. If
Well-
I vote yes, I don't want it to be, okay, you said yes and it's gonna go here if I disagree with where it's gonna go.
the only thing I would say with the contract with Williams, though, they need to know what site they're designing for.
Well, the part of the phase 1 is to determine
Determine
which
it.
of the 2 locations on the mall
On the mall
property.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, if we want to expand that, then that would be a bit of a change in scope.
yeah, I mean, I can dig out the previous correspondence that was sent to the board on this. I mean, the police department had looked at different locations. There was some feedback from them. The mall location was central, gave them good access to both 31 and 72, as well as Huntley Road. So they felt that that was centrally located within the community. That was their recommendation for the location also. And then we didn't have to buy another piece of property.
And to me, the only drawback is cutting into potential space for future development. However, that's a giant piece of property that we
Right.
haven't, fully fleshed out as far as redevelopment at all, so.
But if it comes down to it, like we need the space to do it this way, you always could change it, but this will allow us to at least move ahead, right?
Well, there is a point
We
where
need
we
to start.
can't- Yeah,
Right.
we can't stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
So,
The only other and I think we ruled out trying to blow out the current footprint, just because it's not adequate. I think the only other option that was close, central, and plausible was the property across the street. But due to the sale situation and the
Yeah, I
auction,
understand that, yeah.
Joe, what were they asking for?
I don't
It was like
remember.
1.5?
It was something, yeah.
Nuts. Unless that goes down to a bargain value, I don't think there's any other options that we wouldn't have to acquire for a massive sum. But I suppose it's still,
Right, and there's something to be said, about the village coming out and putting, a $25 million investment in a public safety center on, 4 of the 100 acres that is the future redevelopment. I mean, it sets a tone and it starts the process moving forward.
and I think it was Williams that said it, part of their plan that I liked was plaza between the theater and the police department, that's kind of a public space that we had always talked about having a public facility there, whether it's a library or, rec center or something like that. Police department fills that niche with a community green space in between like they had planned. It fits the space. The only drawback is taking square footage from possible other things.
Okay, I believe we have a standing motion. MJ, am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Wilbrand.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Huska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus.
Aye.
Trustee Angeli.
Aye.
Last motion carries. Moving on to new business item A, PSA and authorization to solicit proposals for the 2026 Street Improvements Program.
Yes, this is our annual, and we're starting early, which is good, so hopefully we get done early. But this is just to approve the professional services agreement for this year's street and infrastructure program. Looks like Grand Point and Fair Hills are, so, wow,
We would have been in Old Town,
yeah.
back in the 5-year plan, but
Oh, but it's amazing, it just seems like these were just built and
Yeah.
already we're replacing
Well,
the street.
Fair Hills is 1994, so
I know, that's what I mean, but
yeah.
but in the scheme of things, it's like, wow, this just happened.
And Grand Point's just got a whole bunch of little things that is running all the way through on every single street.
And Eric, to that point, I drove down Third Street today, it was pretty bombed out. A lot of squares filled with gravel from the lead service lines. I know right now is not an ideal time for asphalt, but they will eventually patch over each one of those and,
our specs too.
right.
Yeah, so that they are gonna do some cleanup based on, yeah, okay.
Full restoration of, turf, and then they do have to do asphalt patching everywhere they
Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty,
And we do that, I used to.
Even if you don't have a lead pipe.
Yes,
they still-
remember, it's
still
600,
tear up your-
600 locations, we have to, yeah.
Yeah, I had a route through one of C-Mill's projects, and it was,
yeah. Is the, just so I'm aware, they're digging holes, as I go through they board them up, right? They dig the holes. Is that the extent of what most houses will experience, or is it all the way through the street? You know,
That's the extent, so they'll need 2 pits.
okay,
Basically, sometimes 3, but at minimum, you'll need 1 at the minimum connection to the main.
okay,
That's where they'll grab it, and then you need 1 above.
okay,
In some occasions, you might need 1 next to the foundation. Also, we have problems like,
okay.
usually just 2 pits.
And then sizes, are they going back the same size or?
1 inch, the residential minimum is 1 inch for,
Okay, so that'll increase for quite a few residents
quite a
probably.
few, I would say, probably mostly 3/4, and in some cases,
Yeah.
you never want to drop it that size.
So if I'm reading this correctly, the streets in Grand Point are just going to be spruce, walnut, and ash? You're not going to physically be doing oak at all?
At this time, so it's split up in 1 year, so we'll probably come back to Grand Point. I think we're up in the
Okay.
Thoughts? You think oak?
Yeah, I mean, that's it straight
Yeah,
right from Sleepy Hollow all the way to the other end, and
the
it's,
dip, yeah.
can we relook at that?
For this year?
Well, if you're gonna be there,
Oak is the west of Grand Point is
Next year's.
next year, so we just call it 1 year.
okay.
Is there a way, if we come in a little bit under budget, to move Oak, would be east of the circle? Or are you saying your side of the street, your side of Oak is also in poor shape?
Well, it's the same thing, yeah, I mean, it's just,
I mean, we do have a process for selecting the streets, right? I think we need to follow that.
Okay.
So, I mean, I haven't seen it, so maybe if we reviewed it, it would rise to the top, but I think we need to be careful
it's just that
about-
Oak is a extremely traveled
Yeah,
thoroughfare that people absolutely love to race on. And all the way from one end to the other, you know, through the boulevard and then all the way down to Sleep. Yeah.
Slow down.
If they could, if they didn't have to go around the roundabout, it'd just be a total, Indy 500.
Get
Yeah.
started with that.
I mean,
Baxter and Woodman's purposes, there'd be maybe a little bit of this scope, it would just be more when the bids come in. And the extra, I could talk to them about alternate, give us a unique price for.
Yeah.
What you can decide.
Keep it in the back of your head.
Yeah.
and is Oaks on like next year's list? So I mean, it's up there, it's just didn't quite make the cutoff this year. Yeah, got it, okay. Oh, yeah, if it's there, or makes sense, or got the money.
Trustee Eska, you have the floor.
Can I do these 2 together?
No,
Oh, make them separate, okay.
The tree trimming and, okay.
no motion. There's
Oh,
2 motions.
forgive me. Okay.
There's one for the PSA and then one for authorization to solicit bids.
Okay. So I move to authorize a professional services agreement between the Village of West Dundee and Baxter and Woodman to complete design and bidding services for the 2026 street improvements project at a cost not to exceed $55,042.50.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapadianis?
Aye.
Trustee Anderly?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, next motion. I move to authorize Public Works and Baxter and Woodman to solicit proposals for the 2026 street improvements project.
Motion. Going once.
Second.
All right, second by trustee Johnson. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapadianis?
Aye.
Trustee Anderly?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item B, authorization to solicit proposals for contractual large-scale tree trimming. Trustee Eska.
Yes, this is beyond what we can do, and we do this every year. And I forget, where are we doing this year?
Yeah, we're down.
Oh, Carrington and Fair Hills.
Fair Hills.
Okay,
Comments or questions?
those trees are getting big.
These are new in this rotation that past 11 years we've done.
It's too bad.
Not getting enough attention.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Eska?
I move to authorize Public Works staff to solicit proposals for the 2026 large-scale tree trimming contract.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Eska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lappajanis.
Aye.
Trustee Gandilli.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrandt.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to new business item C, St. Catherine of Siena School Resource Officer. Trustee Johnson.
Yeah, so let me tee this up. So, Father John, from St. Catherine's approached the village for incremental support for the school during school hours, looking for support for, playground hours, masses, adoration, etc. And what was been laid out in your packet, there was 4 options that were considered. The village considered doing a security officer type arrangement where St. Catherine's will get the security officer themselves. While cost effective, I think it kind of defeats the purpose of the integration between the schools and the police department. And the second option was to do it via some sort of overtime pay for the police. In reading through, there's some issues associated with the continuity of having the same police officer there during same periods of times. They couldn't guarantee it with overtime. And then there were 2 other options that are listed. One is to do some sort of part-time officer through, brought together through or coordinated through the police department. And the last option was to do a dedicated police officer type arrangement. This is a situation where I think St. Catherine's has approached us, and they asked that we express to the leadership team here that the police department has done a wonderful job supporting pickups and additional services, etc. But they're asking for additional support, and I think there would be an appetite for additional support from time to time at the other district, the other schools in Highlands or Dundee Middle, where they might require additional police officers' support or be willing to pay for it, right? So this is not a situation where we would, they would be getting things for free, or where you're taking one type of, where you're taking one officer and, solely dedicating it to one school. This is more of, there is a need in the community, I believe, for additional resources from time to time. What I would suggest us doing is authorizing another police hire, and to leverage that resource as a part-time resource to the schools, right? We've got one school resource officer across all of the individual schools. That's a lot for one person. So what I would suggest doing is potentially hiring an additional officer, and then the schools could leverage that officer, on an hourly basis, or through a scheduling type system, to provide additional support. It provides integrated leadership. It gets the kids used to the town of West Dundee and the police officers of West Dundee, and it's something, from a village perspective, that I think we should consider, from a, just a pure safety perspective. So that's what I would suggest doing, after reading the, the recommendations. I don't know, any other thoughts on, thoughts, comments?
Are there issues at the school that they feel that they need to have this massive police, not massive, but this police presence
Safety
during,
only, there's no like
during
behavioral
masses or
type of.
playground? And I mean, so there's nothing that's actually physically happened at that school that feels that these children that are in danger or anything like that?
Correct, it's,
Okay, so
it's
it's
pure,
just-
it's
It's
safety.
the presence, and I think they're kind of double stigma to be both a religious facility as well as a school where some things of recent have happened, and they don't fall under the school district where they get resources like Dundee Middle does. So I kind of see that that's kind of a whole. And when we talked about this originally, we had talked about working with Dundee Highlands as well, but the district was pretty hard set on not going that direction as well. So I support increased numbers of police officers with the dedication to the schools. We don't know the proper mechanism, but I would be on board for hiring another officer that at least they said their needs around 20 hours a week.
Yeah, 21 hours.
And that officer can be deployed elsewhere when not in use at the school or in the summer or winter breaks, because we always need help with traffic patrol and other situations in West Dundee when it's not school hours.
And if the other schools changed their minds and wanted to utilize that, they'd be, it would be the same, it would be the same for those schools.
Trustee Johnson, you had said previously that the school needed to check with the Rockford Diocese. Have they done that? Are
Yeah,
they able to participate?
If you check with, call Father John. Did you check with the Rockford Diocese? They're okay with that?
Yeah, well, it would all come down to contractual things and attorneys getting in place, but, yeah, they're okay with us looking into it.
Okay.
But have you talked dollar amounts with them? Have you talked like budget, what it would cost with them, like in
Yeah,
that?
there's some other schools that do this within the diocese. Some of them use local police department, others use private security. And I think that ranges from local police departments, 20 to 30,000 a year, and some upwards to 80, 90,000 with private security.
Thank you, Father.
So I also have a question regarding the information we received from the attorney. Okay, so with regards to the fact that, unless I'm just or not understanding this, but it just basically kind of says that, well, while there is clearly a public safety purpose, the safety of teachers and students of private schools, a private enterprise not aimed at functioning for the general public's purpose, but for the select purpose of those financing its tuition, employees, property, etc. Therefore, any agreement must contain a mechanism providing for the reimbursement of the allocated public resources, including but not limited to the time of the school resource officer. I mean, it's saying that because they're a public entity or private entity, that public funding for the benefit of a private enterprise really shouldn't be done, is how I'm interpreting this.
Correct.
Couldn't be done without reimbursement.
Without
Reimbursed,
reimbursement.
and so then it is going to be reimbursed.
Correct.
But it sounds like, yeah.
Okay,
Trustee
so-
Johnson, if I
Yeah,
understood you correctly.
they would agree to a dollar amount per hour or whatever the mechanism is, but there would be some sort of reimbursement. They're not asking for free, right?
But what would we be, I'm sorry, I'm just, again, I'm just looking at this option B, and again, there was all these different options, but it looks like basically for that, adjusted for 21.75 hours of SRO coverage during the school year, it's going to be costing the village $99,000 annually?
It doesn't cost the village.
Well, that's what I'm wondering,
New officer.
yeah.
But I think the
Without
allocation of,
reimbursement.
yeah.
Like, that's just,
the
if we were to
allocation.
add a new officer today, that's what it would cost, all things included, correct, Joe?
But no, there's
No.
two options here, 4A and 4B, which I think you're suggesting, right, one of those. Both of those involve the village either spending $53,000 for 4A, village's money, not St. Catherine's. St. Catherine's covering 102, and the other option basically flips those numbers where they pay 50-something and we pay 100.
But I think the unpaid portion is the person would be doing other activities.
If we had something for them to do,
Do,
and I guess
right.
that's the
Well,
question.
Yeah, I think part of the issue, Chief, is not necessarily the lack of work. I think we could always use another couple of bodies, especially as the community grows, but it's recruitment. We're having a tough time getting that eligibility list built.
That certainly is a factor, but I think what to do with the person is huge. It's huge. You know, the idea, especially with the staggered hours, it would be one thing if it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for 8 months. O'clock in the morning to 4 a.m. So we know that Thursday and Friday, person to handle cases as a detective,
Sure.
traffic enforcement, things like that. But the staggered hours out each day through the week, in addition to the fact that when, obviously the idea for a dedicated school resource officer, like Officer Hicks at Duncan Middle School, he takes his vacation time when school is off, so we don't have him work to use for other things there. When the school is off, he generally will take his holidays and things like that. So
Yeah.
the reality of the full-time person is that we may not have to pay so much, but quite frankly, District 300 get 25% of his salary.
Yeah.
But to be quite honest, with that though, with the public schools and the middle school in particular, it goes along with the whole, it's easier to build a strong
Yeah.
youth than prepare for
Sure.
adult kind of.
Yeah.
And I'm all on board with that, and thankfully, nice job, Father, and your crew, that this isn't the case generally with, veterans for the school
Yeah.
part of it. I think what really gets me the most, as far as the dedicated time goes, is doing everything that I can to manage the growth of the town and manage the department. And add a 25th officer, to me, it will be because the inevitability that we're going to have to expand to a third. Starting to experiment with that this year because of some of the staffing allocations. The resources toward adding our 25th officer, dedicated resource officer, because I think towards the overall wise allocation of resources.
Would it be possible to get a part-time, somebody's put their 20 years in, they're at 48, 49, still have some interest and
That's
drive?
option 3, I think, right? Yeah.
The trick with that is it has to be the right person. With basically working for some extra money where they probably aren't there unless there's some sort of
Yeah.
with that. Because let's face it, one of the big reasons that my industry, even though we're eligible for retirement at 50,
Yeah.
there's a few of us left that are eligible in tier 1 with health insurance, so you
Right.
have to keep working and get benefits with that. That aside, that to me is the ideal, that's the best of all worlds. You're dedicated, less than the police officer. It would be a burden to us administratively and logistically like that, but a worthwhile burden. And then the rest of the details can be worked out. But like I said, the trick is
You gotta find
to
that
get
person.
the right person.
Could we add 2 more officers as part of the budget cycle this coming year?
I need to take a hard look at the budget numbers. You're talking $300,000 in benefits specifically just on the police department side, and you've got three other sets of departments that have personnel needs that have to be addressed. We just added 2 new subdivisions, the Mall Ring Road, Public Works has ongoing increasing obligations. So there's a balancing that the board has to just kind of understand. And I want to emphasize for those individuals at St. Catharines, we afford St. Catharines the same level of patrol and protection that we do Dundee Highlands currently at no cost. That is expected to continue. We do that at drop-off and pickup. We do it for special events. We do it on request. And so, you know, we definitely incorporate St. Catharines into the fabric of the policing for this community currently, and that is not going to change under this. What we're being asked of is to increase this, and by increasing it, there are certain obligations that come along with it, and how do we look at that, and what are the best mechanisms in order to achieve that. I think there are some concerns with the full-time individual.
What about the reimbursed seasoned part-timer and an additional full-timer? Can we try to do those things at the budget year?
I'm happy to
Because
try
then
to.
we're just looking at the 150.
Yeah.
And then we get you closer.
Service officer or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's exactly right, right.
Retired guy, and they
Yeah.
didn't
That's
have
option
it.
3.
Well,
Yeah, that's
we
option
did that
three,
with
right, right.
records recently too. So we took someone off the force and placed him in records to keep him in the department. So
Well,
it's
because there was a
kind of
need to fill
Correct.
within the organization, right? And if there was if the board was agreeable to this and St. Catharines was agreeable to this, and there was a part-time individual that became aware of us, that we were comfortable with, I don't think anyone organizationally would be of concern, because this is a win-win. We can provide that service at basically at a net neutral cost, and all we're doing is managing and administering one other part-time individual to provide that increased service, so.
And it's fine.
And to give you some insight too, with a lot of the thought that went through this discussion. I don't have that currently as part of my requests for the upcoming fiscal year, because I know it's coming, and I want to make sure that when I put that in my memo to be presented to you all, that it's definitive. We did 27 police officers now, and here's why. So I look at it more as it is there versus when the money's available, so let's do it, kind of thing. So just as a background, I'm sure when you hired me, where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I didn't convey that mindset anyway,
Yeah.
but that is very important to me, that we know our westward expansion, and we're not even in rush hour.
Yeah.
It takes about 9 to 12 minutes to get from we know that we're going to have to add staff to.
Yeah. But as we're growing, townhomes and building more and subdivisions, et cetera, the schools are gonna expand too. So, whether it's a full-time or whether it's a part-time person that is dedicated to that, one way or the other, I think it's a good idea to just invest in the schools, or at least provide a service to those schools to link that continuity. And if you can do it on really what's, as close to a net neutral basis as possible, there's no skin off, there's no there's no taxpayer extra funds that are needed. So if we can go down a path of saying, let's do a permanent part-time type person that would fill that role, I would be okay with that, as long as, and then we can get the hours that not only St. Catharines or the other schools want, right? And then we can fill a schedule accordingly to get that type of support. But the important thing is it's linked to the West Dundee Police Department, and it's got that continuity there that we're providing safer schools for our
The
community.
part-timer makes sense from the perspective that I think it's a more seasoned officer. I think if we were to take a rookie, so to speak, and put him or her in the school, they might not see it as an opportunity to really advance their career long-term, so it might be
Right.
hard to staff that. So the part-timer makes sense from that perspective. The other element too is, if that part-timer is not working out, it's a little bit harder to get rid of a full-timer who's past probation in a union versus somebody who is a part-timer retired. We just need to make sure that the person is offered benefits in addition to a salary, because I imagine that's the key component, that him or her in their early 50s would need to have benefits until they're 65. So that would have to be part of the calculation.
I would think so, and that's, talking part-time, but the same philosophy, I know that's what some of the colleges have faced throughout the years, and colleges that aren't having those issues right now are MCC and ECC. Adopted this philosophy of let's stop hiring 23-year-olds that are gonna use us to get their foot in the door and
Yeah.
go somewhere else.
Yep.
And they hire us 550-year-olds and who still, have a lot,
Yeah.
several years to do it, and it's been working out wonderfully.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then plus just the experience, the temperament, the patience.
Yeah.
That more guaranteed with somebody that serves a career as opposed to taking it from somebody that just can.
Yeah, and that would be that. I think that would work out good. Is the part is getting someone linked into your organization that's part time that does this, and then you can work the schedule, figure it out, and at least it provides that extra presence and that extra visibility into the schools that I think would benefit the community.
So that would be the option 3, I think we're
Option,
talking
well, that's what I
about,
was
right?
wondering, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
believe
sounds like-
someone from the church raised her hand.
Oh, sure.
Miss, please.
I just wanted to clarify that all 4 of us are from Dundee Highlands.
Oh.
In support of adding another officer.
Oh, I see.
We are also parishioners at
I see.
Am I missing something, though? I mean, Dundee Highlands has not come forward and requested or changed their position previously about adding.
No, they're showing support for the church.
No, and I get that, but I'm just asking, I hear trustee Johnson indicating that,
We did, and the district in our sit-down meeting basically said, we can't do that because then all the other elementary schools
Right.
would want us to do the same for them, and we're not supporting that, which was very, very hard to hear.
Yeah.
So I think what trustee Johnson and I have talked about after that meeting is they were okay with having increased police presence, not just stationed like an SRO, but come through the schools, talk with the kids, do additional curriculum and programming, any way that the school could use us at pickup or drop off or nighttime
Special
programs.
events,
Yes,
right.
things of that nature. So I would think that this position, if approved, would also have some carryover to Dundee Highlands and.
Yes.
yeah, but just to clarify, that's what we've been doing since that request has been made.
Correct. And
Right.
We're
No,
looking
no,
to add
they-
another body for that. So
Yeah,
that's-
no one's saying, yeah, they're very appreciative of the support that they get, right? But this is on top.
But the one thing I wanted to caution this board about is we have, just for numbers purposes, we have added 5 patrol officers to the ranks over the last 5 years. And so if any department has increased its staffing and manning, it has been the police department. This board has the obligation to make sure that all the other departments are covered in terms of staffing. And so before you voluntarily acknowledge that you want to add a 25th officer, I think you guys need to take a look at the budget, look at the needs of the organization, some of the other departments, and then make that decision whether or not that becomes the priority or something else the priority.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you.
for bringing that up, because I feel like, I think we don't want to take hiring of a police officer outside the process of deciding on all of our staffing levels, and I think that's what we're doing through budgeting. And so I think that could be in the mix when we talk about staffing levels as part of next year's budget, but I don't think we ought to be pulling it out of that process and giving sort of special attention to this.
Appreciate it. So,
But I do like the idea of the option 3, if we can if we can find that right person. It seems like that covers all the boxes. I mean, you get somebody that's part-time, we don't have to cover the rest of their hours. It's probably the least expensive, although I think here doesn't include any benefits, so possibly that could be at least a
We
little
probably,
bit more.
so
but-
Kelly came forward. Kelly, you have something to add?
Oh.
I would just want to double check with our labor attorneys that if we can offer just one type of part-time employee benefits when we don't offer our other employee part-time.
I see.
Oh,
There's-
got it.
So that's something I want to be
Yeah.
sure before we.
So we might not even
There are a lot of
offer the
moving parts
benefits.
to this, but yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
Because there's certain
It's-
rules and different numbers that have, that also.
Thank you, Kelly. That's helpful. Miss, in the, I'm sorry, trustee Wilbrandt, there's a woman who's been raising her hand.
I just wanted to, I mean, I can ask you back about. Oh, bear with me, but the police presence there just is. Heard that there was a need at St. Catherine. Also, it's currently, it just seemed like maybe a good offer. I know there are new crosswalks and new signs, and sometimes, of course, Miss Eric, sometimes. Unkind, I don't mean it that way, but it just seemed like maybe this was a way that every, oh, with the youngest amongst us, you know, little kids and as a So I think, I just wanna, you know, make sure that our position is clear to. And we just thought that maybe, you know, everybody could have what they needed, and since we're there all the time.
Thank you.
Isn't St. Catharines still more confined to a parking lot? I mean, aren't they all just being dropped off at, inside, within the boundaries of that fenced area? Yeah.
There's a front parking lot and a back parking lot. That's where drop-offs and pickups are. They have an outdoor playground that's in the back parking lot.
Okay, 'cause I always see a lot of cars
Yeah.
back there, and I was just, I mean, I'm not familiar, so I
Is
was
the goal
just curious.
tonight to give you guidance on a preferred potential option and then have you kind of flesh out some additional details?
Well, trustee Johnson had asked that this be on the agenda. We've presented at least 4 options. I think there are some legitimate options in order to do this, that we are more than willing to explore, so long as the board is supportive of the concepts.
So
Yeah, so I
option
would like
three?
to explore the part-time option and see if.
Specifically
we can-
option 3, is that what
Yeah,
you're talking
option 3, yes, where you would bring someone on part-time.
Chief, many years ago, we hired Mike Marchese from Schaumburg. I guess I think of him when I think of the part-timer, somebody who just needed. And I don't know if that
Mike
person-
used to work for us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He came here and it worked out for, I think, a good 5-6 years. So maybe that type of person is out there still.
Yeah, I think it is definitely legit, that's why, we presented that as the best of the options. And sorry for it is a little confusing, option 1, 2, it wasn't in order of preference.
yes.
It was our order of thought process, so it happened to be the third thing we discussed, but, I definitely could see how that would work out with really what Kelly mentioned being big guest wrinkle.
Yeah.
And then from there, it would just be up to us, and of course, this would, selecting, they have to select the right person.
Okay.
So just a real quick question, just so I just want to make sure I'm understanding all this. So under option 3, what, the fuel equipment, but that whole statement there, that's going to be covered by us or reimbursed to us? Whatever additional
Reimbursed, right.
cost?
Yeah,
Well, I think the cost of the individual, but they're just recognize if you're adding an individual, providing a vehicle, all of that can get somewhat factored in, but the village is ultimately, taxed with, a certain amount of obligation for this
We could
position
adjust the
individual.
rate to cover some of that
Yeah.
stuff,
Right.
right, yeah.
Right.
Ensuring that the training certifications, the required, annual training, the required triennial training from another factor that gets lumped in with, I guess, the administrative and equipment costs, working through the budget, capital budget projections is, we just add another, two licenses for body cams and license for, cameras, things like that, that it's hard to quantify until you really
Yeah.
dial into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would maybe, and not to steal your thing, but just my thought on this would be to, one, maybe explore the dollar cost. I think we really need to factor in some of this overhead kinds of stuff. And then let's see what those numbers land at, then go back to the funding source and see if they're good with that before we spend the time searching down a person and then
Yeah,
Rockford says no.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, and we've been, to your earlier point, we've been discussing this for over a year, and it's not like we're rushing to, do something, aside from a budget process. Like, this has been an ongoing discussion, so it's something that is complicated, there's a lot of moving parts. We've talked about the need and talked with the schools, and it's gonna continue to get discussed, so I think to say that, well, we don't wanna cut anybody else out of the budget just so we can do this for the police department, that's not, I think, what's happening here. It's just an ongoing discussion to see if we can make this fit within the larger frame of the budget as we talk about every year.
Do we need to do anything official for you guys to explore this? Okay, all right. Unless there's anything else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
second. Was that trustee Alpajanis?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned.